We haven't had a new anime Souls-like in almost 6 years when Code Vein came out in 2019. But tomorrow, that drought finally ends as we get not only one, but two new anime Souls-likes. Now, of the two, the one that more people will know is the first Berserker Kazan. As a matter of fact, some people are already playing it with early access, and it seems like it's pretty good. But as a fan of the underdog, and it being the game I saw first of the two, my eyes are currently on AI Limit. I've had my eye on this game since October of last year. Recently, they released their launch trailer, so I figured I may as well, before playing the game tomorrow, see what this trailer is looking like one last time before I play it myself. Of course, the beginning sequence. The ruins, destroyed, civilization.
Welcome, Seeker of the Branch.
Ever seen such a large-scale necro invasion before?
Necro, huh?
Entering the city at this time isn't the wisest choice, I have to say.
Come on, man. What the heck is this place?
There's some nice looking locales.
Like you,
interesting look.
in pursuit of branches,
It's a nice battlefield.
Eliminating these hollow vessels is my duty, or rather my
okay.
fascination.
Jeepers, did she just stand on the scythe?
Consciousness and energy from which you are born.
I'm here to bring down the church, but your battlefield is not here.
Why is the church always the bad guys in these games?
The sphere is now open to you.
Heck, the bad guys in real life sometimes too.
Achieve what you desire.
Now, who is that?
Only
I can't tell if
battle can achieve what you
this looks like the main
desire
character,
open to you.
kind of,
Go.
but like
Achieve what you desire.
it could also be a boss.
True battle can hone your resolve.
So I don't know about that could be an interesting boss fight. Maybe fighting like a clone of me, a clone of the main character. But yeah, now with this game coming out tomorrow, there are already reviews out for it. Here is one from the Gamers Joint, one that seems like it's probably going to be pretty positive. At least mostly positive. He says, or they say, not sure if it's a he, she, or what. Haven't watched the video yet, but they say surprisingly good action RPG. And I feel like before I watch this, just to kind of give my little preview of what I think AI Limit will be like, I feel like this is the game that's going to be for three people. It's going to be for people who love Souls-likes, people who love anime action games, and people who might love both. And if you're not in one of those three, there's a chance you're probably just not going to like the game. This game is not... I feel like this game might not be a game that makes you a fan of Souls-likes. It's something fun to play if you already like Souls-like games. And that's why I think this is gonna fit in. The first Berserker might be a game that people who don't like Souls-likes might also enjoy. I don't think AI Limit will be one of those games, but it doesn't have to be. Me going in, I'm not expecting a masterpiece. I'm not expecting Lies of P level quality from this. I'm just going in to play another Souls-like, to play a new Souls-like that is anime art styled. That's all I'm going in for. I just want, some fun combat, some fun boss fights, and I'm happy. And I feel like AI Limit might be able to give me that. So let me see what they have to say about this.
Setting, demons, big-ass environmental spikes,
Sheesh.
Anime characters. Welcome back, Code Vein.
I know.
Seems like most action RPGs these days are Souls-like. There's definitely
that's the main draw of AI Limit. Is like, oh, this is like Code Vein, but like Bloodborne styled, or this is just like Code Vein 2. And that's like the main pull. I don't think the first Berserker has that kind of vibe to it.
Of this type of video game.
This game is almost like for like Code Vein fans in a way.
Over a decade ago now, many other developers have tried to cook up their own renditions, and while it's frustrating that most ARPGs are subjected to Souls-like, creating a serious case of I don't know.
One more thing before this video goes too far. I have one more thing on my mind. Did I already say this? I think I kind of already did. But yeah, like I like Elden Ring. And I also like Code Vein. I like both games, and I play them. I feel like I played almost Code Vein as much as I played Elden Ring. And Code Vein, if you're being critical, is not as good as Elden Ring, obviously. But I enjoy both games. So I'm a guy. I don't have favorites. All right. I don't rank things. I don't say this is my favorite thing ever because I have two sides of things. I like it. I don't like it. So The only reason I'm saying this is because I've seen like a lot of negative comments. I saw IGN's review; they gave it a 5, saying like, "Oh, it's a Souls game with no soul." I feel like we're being, I feel like we're being too critical these days on games, bro.
A dev that isn't
like, just go in and have
FromSoft
some fun, bro.
manages to make
Don't
something
overthink
special. Neo, Lies of P, Code Vein, Final Fantasy, Stranger of Paradise, or Lords of the Fallen are good examples of Souls-like that built upon the
Final Fantasy has a
foundations
Souls-like?
of the genre
Stranger of
and added
Paradise?
their own flavors to help them stand out. Unfortunately, more garbage than gold usually releases within the genre, creating a sense of exhaustion whenever anyone hears a new Souls-like game is coming out. But I do believe
That is happening now, though,
AI
yeah.
Limit is part of that family of good Souls-likes.
That's what I like
I'm
to hear,
surprised
and I believe
how
it.
much I enjoyed this video game. This is coming from a brand new China-based studio, Sense Games, and published by CE Asia. It's actually part of PlayStation's China Hero project and has been in development since 2019. Now, the dev sent me a demo
Dang,
of AI Limit
6
in
years?
July of last year, and I praised
So when Code Vein came out, they were still they just started making this. That's crazy.
for having fantastic movement, very reminiscent of Bloodborne. The game almost basically has Bloodborne's quick-step dodge system. The game, just
It's a good thing
like
I just played
also
Bloodborne then.
encourages
I'll be
you
used to
be
that.
more aggressive in your playstyle. Thanks to
Also
the
a Bloodborne
core
thing.
of this game's combat system, the sync gauge. Visually, the game looks nice. It had this dark, gloomy anime aesthetic, very similar to Code Vein. And while
Yes,
the actual
I do like.
visuals of the environment seemed to be a little bit bland and uninspired, the actual layout of the levels seemed pretty good. Branching pathways and hidden things to find via
Here's the thing.
exploration.
I think the main complaint I feel like this game is probably going to get, or probably has, is probably the story doesn't matter. The story sucks. We're not playing. Listen, I understand a good story in a Souls-like is an add-on. It's not mandatory. Like I said, I'm in for fun combat and fun boss fights. I don't need a story for that. If there was a game where there was no dialogue, no story, I'm just in the world fighting bosses, I'd probably still be happy if it was a Souls-like. That's not what I'm here for. I don't care about the story that much. Now, if the story is good, it's a plus. I don't need it, though. I don't need it.
Just the same way that From Software approaches their areas in their Souls games. Because combat and movement and the general mechanics of the game felt super responsive, this was really impressive. Things were tight here, and it was a great
That's
first
good.
impression.
Good control is important, for sure.
Very first video game. And after putting
Especially in a
many
Souls
hours
game
into
where
AI Limit
any
and
small
basically seen almost
mistake can make you
everything
die.
the game has to offer, I have to say that Sense Games clearly did their homework on what makes a good Souls-like. Now,
See, that doesn't look
I should
bad.
start by
That shot of the world. I mean, sure. I mean, it's not a lot of color, but it's a post-apocalyptic. Okay, I swear I can speak. I'm just a little stage fright. You know, a little stage fright.
Sense Games clearly did their homework.
But like, also, here's the thing: when I'm playing a game, I'm not staring at the graphics really. Like, I'm not sitting here looking at every single pixel and polygon trying to see how detailed the game is. I'm just playing the game.
Makes a good Souls-like. Now, I should start by saying that this game doesn't necessarily do anything groundbreakingly different with the genre. The
Doesn't
only
need
thing that
to.
it kind of does a little bit different here is its approach to combat via the sync system, so we should talk about that first. The entire system revolves around this bar here known as the sync gauge. The divided colored portions of the bar represent the current damage threshold that you'll dish out. 100% means that you're going to be dishing out the most damage, whereas if your percent is down the other end, you're going to do less damage. But this game
I'm probably
also
gonna, like,
acts as a resource
it's gonna take a while for
This
me to
is
get used
the
to that,
MP
probably.
system of the game. Just like how Elden Ring has unique abilities for most of the weapons throughout the game, it's the same here with AI Limit. It's a cool system because it makes getting new weapons exciting, as it might have a brand new ability that
I just realized most Souls-likes don't have this. Most Souls games in general don't have like unique abilities on certain weapons only.
good. So these ability skills
Code Vein
require
didn't.
a certain amount of sync in order to pull off.
I know Neo
There's
has
good
a-
number of
has a-
weapons in this
a
game that have
skill tree,
unique
so it has that,
abilities. You
but-
find weapons out in the world, or via a vendor or an NPC, or by
Yeah,
following
weapons
a
might
quest
be
line.
the-
spell
the-
system also requires
They're gonna be so
sync
cool
as
in this game, I feel
well.
like.
These
It's gonna
are
be so
your
cool.
ranged
The
capabilities.
weapons, the
While there are
spells.
some support-based spells that provide some passive
Bro.
buffs. These are mainly
Well, I get
your
to be a freaking
ranged
god in this game, I
flashy
feel like.
moves. Some of these can be purchased from a vendor using
What is
a
that,
specific
Frenzy?
unique
Is that a
currency
suicide-
or found
what is
out
it,
in the
you freaking
world, or
Vegeta?
even some enemies
Final
can
Atonement?
drop special unique spells on a very low drop rate. Generally, the stronger the weapon skill or spell is, the more sync required in order to use it. Now, landing
Makes sense.
normal hits actually restores the sync gauge, so there's
Yeah.
no real restore MP item, although there kind of is. You're not going between potions.
So it's kind of like, so it's like pretty much if Liza P and Bloodborne, if you hit somebody after getting hit, or I mean, it's a little different in both games, but for the most part, you can get your health back by hitting the enemy when they hit you. It seems like in this game, it's like if that was like your mana bar instead.
All the time,
And that's-
drinking
I mean,
up
that'll
to
be
ensure
interesting.
that you can perform your abilities, because you're constantly gaining and losing this resource whenever you're engaged in combat. In a way, it's quite reminiscent of Code Vein's Ichor system. How there's a
That's also
built-in
true. That's
mechanic
also
into the
very
core
true, yeah.
of the combat system in order
That's
to
that's,
restore
that's
the
actually very
resource
Code
gain.
Vein-like.
But as you take damage, your sync meter will drop, and if you're
That's not
attacked
Code
on
Vein-like, though.
0%, you'll be left stunned for a few seconds, like being hit with 0 stamina in the Souls games. And speaking of
Interesting.
stamina, there is no stamina gauge
You already
in
knew
this
that.
game at all, so you're free to move those legs or swing that sword to your heart's content. The game revolves around managing your sync gauge.
That
There's
works
actually
well for
two
me
stats in the
because
game that
that's my weakest point, my weakest link in Souls likes, in Souls games. I do not even pay attention to the stamina bar most of the time. I'm just swinging, bro. And it's a bad habit. It's not how you should play the game, but that's how I
help you
am.
build upon improving the usefulness of the sync gauge, known as conversion and stability. Conversion will improve the amount of sync returned after landing a normal hit, and
Oh,
stability will lessen the amount of sync lost upon being hit. Vitality is the
Build
main
stuff.
stat that will improve both of these substats, so if you want to build your character into strong focusing this system, you can. The game works just like any other
Interesting.
Souls,
Okay.
like you run
I feel like that's going to be like the mage type playthrough where going for a high conversion build is for people who like to use a bunch of powerful spells, which means that might not be me,
around the
but
world,
we'll see.
defeating enemies and rest at your bonfire, which in this game is known as branches. You'll choose what stats you want to improve, and there are both weapons and spells in the game that require you to be at a specific stat level.
We
in
expect
order
that,
to
yeah.
use.
Oh, they have
We've
the
also
pipe.
got the typical
Shout out Code
leveled
Vein.
stat scaling system for all of the weapons. So, for instance, if a weapon is S in spirit and you have a high spirit stat, that weapon's going to do more damage. You can also equip 2 weapons
This game
at a
looks fine.
time,
I don't-
and the game does have a
Look at this and
built-in
think I might be
weapon
bored
switch
at all.
combo system, so you can switch to your secondary weapon partway through.
Look at the sync rate down there. Okay, so there's going to be some different, I guess, levels to this past the most basic part of it when you start the game. Because now there's a red part, a purple part. Like, what in the world's going on down there?
combo. Looking at the character progression side of things, there is only 2 armor slots in this game, a main body piece and a head piece. Weapons can be upgraded to a max level of 10 finding materials
Okay.
out in the world. Seals are a main equipable that can provide additional bonuses to your character along with determining
So,
the
kinda like,
usefulness of the sync
talismans
gauge.
or
The
whatever?
seal that I'm using here introduces more colored bars within the gauge, meaning that I can achieve higher damage thresholds.
I
Each main
see.
seal comes with a different number of smaller seal slots. These small seals can be found out in the world and provide smaller passive bonuses like increase
I don't want to watch too much of this review because I'm going to play the game tomorrow. Like, I'm going to play the game tomorrow. I don't want to see too much. I want to be able to experience it and it'd be mostly blind. I mean, even though I saw stuff, I haven't played the game yet. So I mean, I'm still pretty blind. I only played the demo, and it's been so long. I've kind of forgotten how that even was. But one last thing, this game doesn't seem to be that long. From most things I've seen, it's like 20 to 30 hours, which I don't know. Does that count? Like, I guess how long you're fighting a boss? Like, is that like it's 20 or 30 hours if you take every boss? Or is that like with you dying to bosses, that's how long it took them to beat it? I wonder what they mean by that. But it doesn't seem like a long game. But from what I see, I mean, I don't see anything bad about AI Limit. All I see is that, like, sure, it's not going to do anything brand new and nothing that's going to make it a must play. But I feel like if you like Souls games, if you like Souls-like games, there's something here to like about the game. And I'm looking forward to it. So tomorrow, we finally begin the AI Limit journey.